Central Kyiv has been hit, as we said, by explosions 2 days after that attack on a key bridge link to Crimea that Russian President Vladimir Putin blamed on Ukraine. Kyiv's mayor says several blasts were reported in the city's central district. This as air raid alerts were activated across Ukraine early this morning. For more, let's bring in Bloomberg's senior reporter for international affairs, Marc Champion. Marc, what can we expect then today from the meeting that Vladimir Putin has called with the Security Council at a time when we're starting to see what looks like retaliatory attacks from Putin?
Yes, I mean, we know now already what the shape of the retaliation will be. All across Ukraine, there have been long-range missile strikes on major cities, on the civilian targets in the center of the cities. This is something that Russia's hit civilian targets many times before, but this is systematic. Oftentimes there were possible explanations in terms of what military targets were nearby when apartment buildings were hit and so on, so that the missiles may have gone astray. But in this case, we're talking about direct attacks on a central park, kind of the equivalent of Hyde Park in London, an attack on a pedestrian bridge in the middle of Kyiv, and other targets that have no other possible explanation, also on civilian infrastructure, power infrastructure. So we're really seeing a broad response to what I think was probably seen in Moscow as a personal attack on Putin when the bridge that he built between Crimea and the Russian mainland was hit on Saturday.
So the targeting, it sounds like, again, of that civilian infrastructure, as you say. What do we expect then? Do we expect any further details? Are we expecting a speech, any comments from the Russian president after he meets with his national security advisors later today? And is this a pattern that we expect to accelerate in terms of the targeting of some key Ukrainian cities? And folding into that, an additional question: what is the ability for Ukraine to defend itself against these attacks?
Right. So on the Security Council meeting, it's got to be concerning. There's no routine that Putin comes out of these and automatically makes a statement. However, he could, and it is concerning that he's called this meeting, as they've already launched what is clearly a series of retaliatory attacks. He is under pressure from the ultra-nationalist right to escalate massively, including nuclear. So it is a worrying moment. And then, to the second, which is how does Ukraine protect itself? It needs, and President Zelensky has asked for a lot of air defense. But these are, expensive pieces of kit, and it's a large country. We're talking about a country, bigger than France. And to protect everything, to protect every city would be an incredible enterprise.
And Marc, are the Ukrainians still making headway in their offensives in the Donbass region?
They are, and this is one of the reasons why Putin is responding in this way, because he basically has run out of conventional military response on the battlefield. He's mobilized. He ordered a mobilization. There will be more troops coming into the battlefield over the months to come. But at the moment, they're completely untrained, not very useful if they are thrown into the front. And the Ukrainians are continuing to make headway. The Russians really haven't had a response on the battlefield for a while now. So this largely explains why Putin is responding in the way that he is on largely civilian targets, hoping one has to imagine that this will break the popular support for the war in Ukraine, but that seems highly unlikely to happen.